What is going on, guys? Rewinds here, and in this video I'm going to be bringing you guys the full spoilers for Boruto Manga Chapter 71, and shout out to Organic Dinosaur for making her return to translating all the full spoilers for us. The last few months have been a bit more difficult because there's been different people having to translate the spoilers because Organic Dinosaur hadn't been doing so. So welcome back, Organic Dinosaur. Shout out to you for all the translations, and just like usual, we're going to be looking at these together, and I'm going to react to it as I go along with you guys. And it seems like we're going to have about 6 or 7 parts to this chapter, and part 1 is going to consist of pages 1 through 5, about 12% of the chapter. So let's go and have a look at that first. Okay, so part 1 of the spoilers, the chapter is titled Nuisance, and the color cover of the chapter is Code with spiky hair. This is him with his limiters removed, and the splash text next to it says, Unleashing the Power of the White Karma. Subheader says, Code's limiter has been released. His assassin blade is getting closer. The side text from page 2 says, Code made Amado divulge the command word. Now he'll be using his regained powers. So they've hyped him up a lot. This limiters thing has been hyped up for a bit, and you know, some of the other spoilers that came out already revealed what happens to him this chapter, and I am going to give my thoughts on that as well once we get to that part of the chapter. But let's start having a look at this. So scene 1, Amado gets a reprieve. The chapter opens with Code about to take a swing at a nervous Amado. As Ada and Daemon watch on, Bug is observing from around the corner. Bug says, the genius scientist, Sanzu Amado. It doesn't seem like there's a way out of this. So this is interesting because they haven't ever said his last name, I think, till now. So interesting little detail right there. Code says, goodbye, Amado. Amado says, Ada, I have something to tell you. It's about Kawaki. Ada is still silent, but this still seems to pique her interest. Code suddenly halts his attack. Ada's eyes are not activated. Code is not saying anything here, and then Ada says, what do you mean? What do you have to say about Kawaki? Amado says, Kawaki is a trump card to me, but for right now it seems as though Konoha has forsaken me. Either that or the situation is starting to look like they're attempting to get rid of me. Honestly, I think Amado's kind of just talking there, but, you know, I don't really think Konoha's necessarily trying to get rid of him, because they still have use of Amado, so I don't think I agree with that. Ada says, what do you mean? I haven't heard anything about this. Code says, that's not something to worry about. He's totally bluffing. It's his last resort to stall for more time. See, Code seems to have it figured out here. Ada says, Code, I'm the one talking here, so stop butting in so much. Code says, you're being stupid. Are you really going to get tricked by this type of smooth talking braggart bastard? He's just using you for his own purposes. Ada says, didn't you just hear me? I told you not to be a nuisance to me. Well, that ties into the chapter right there. Code then winds his claw arm back up to take another swing at Amado. Code says, unfortunately, this guy is also a target for my revenge because he murdered Ishiki, but it's different when it comes to killing Kawaki. As for this guy, I still don't have any other reasons to complain about him. And that wraps up part 1. We're going to move on to part 2 now. So it seems like part 2 is going to be consisting of pages 6 through 13, and it's going to take us to the 32% mark of the chapter, so we're going to be about a third done by the time I'm done reading this. So this is scene 2, intervention time. Ada says, Daemon. Daemon suddenly appears right behind Amado. The palm of Daemon's left hand is now covering up Code's mouth. Daemon's right hand is holding back Code's right wrist. Code is surprised. Daemon says, hey you, aren't you getting a bit too cocky? Code tries to swing his left claw to attack Daemon, but it only results in 2 3-centimeter gashes right above his own left eye. Code is thinking to himself, no way, that mental image of me killing was already starting to get reflected. Code then disappears into one of his claw marks. Daemon seems a bit surprised and leaps into the air. Daemon! Exclamation mark. Code reappears a bit further away from them, hanging upside down on the ceiling through another set of claw marks. Daemon says, "Get down and come over here, you chicken bastard." Ada says, "Code, it seems like you tried to attack him with murderous intent, right? My little brother of all people." Code doesn't respond. Code then jumps back onto the ground and rights himself back up. Code says, "That's an awfully false accusation. Aren't you the one who set me up from the get-go?" Ada says, "I should have warned you. If you're just going to be a nuisance to me, I'll have no other choice but to dispose of you." Code says, "Wait a second, who's the nuisance here?" "You mean me?" Bug stares at them, mouth agape. Amado says, "You still don't get it, do you, Code?" Ada has already received an invitation from Konoha. There's already a chance for her to quickly close in on Kawaki, but if Ada keeps hanging out with you, like how things are going right now, her long-awaited chance might go to waste. And so, wouldn't you say that you're being a nuisance? So I like how Amado is trying to manipulate the situation here as well, in his favor to, cause a little bit of animosity between all three of them. So I do like that he's trying to manipulate the situation. As for Ada, it is smarter to take the opportunity, of course, if she wants to actually get with Kawaki. I agree with Amado. Code says, "Cut it out, Amado. With all your incessant slick talking, you can't just keep on trying to deceive Ada and then try to trap me. Your tactics won't work." Amado says, "Deceive you? I'm just stating the facts." And I think that's facts. Code says, "Didn't I tell you to shut up?" Code then lunges straight at Amado with his left claw wound back to strike, but then Daemon suddenly appears right in front of Code's face at eye level. There's only a few centimeters between them. Daemon's right palm is on Code's right shoulder. Daemon says, "Are you an idiot or what?" Code then pushes himself away from Daemon. Code says, "Check." Code has slid quite a far ways back. He's sliding along the floor and steadying himself by digging into the ground a bit with his claws. Ada is just leaning up against the bar. Amado is still standing at the wall. Daemon lands more neatly. Daemon says, "If my big sister says to stop, then stop. Are you that much of an idiot? Like you can't understand such a simple thing? I'll properly dispose of you, Code." Seems like they're officially all enemies at the end of this part. Moving on to part 3 and part 4. It seems like this is going to take us all the way up to 51% of the chapter. So part 3 is going to be pages 14 to 15, and part 4 is going to be pages 16 to 21. Okay, so scene 3, Konoha status update, pages 14 to 16. The scene shifts back to Konoha. Naruto, Sasuke, Kawaki, and Shikamaru are having an intel briefing. Naruto says, "So it doesn't matter who it is. They'll become her captive slave? What do you mean by that?" Shikamaru says, "I'm sure we'll meet her again sooner or later, and when that time comes, you'll regrettably understand it too." Sasuke says, "Who is she? She seems like Code. Is she one of the surviving cyborgs?" Shikamaru says, "I don't know all of the details, but Amado talking about her some time ago. She was amongst the cyborgs who got disposed of. There were several of them in existence, ones who greatly surpassed Jigen in terms of power." Kawaki's listening, but he's not saying anything. Shikamaru says, "And so, Ada is probably one of them." Amado was even surprised about her very existence and also her wickedness. The way I see it, Code is her ally. But there's not just Ada either. Sasuke says, "What do you mean?" Shikamaru says, "I saw something during the battle last night." Kawaki had driven Code into a corner. There's someone who took the brunt of the counter, and that person wasn't Ada. No doubt about it. There's at least one other extreme cyborg out there. There's another person with them. So, it seems like these are going to be the only pages we're going to get, involving these guys at Konoha in this chapter. But this is important info, and I'm glad that they are aware of this now. Scene 4. Let's get ready to rumble. Pages 16 to 21. The scene switches right back to Bug, Code, Ada, and Amado. Daemon is surrounded by a menacing go SFX as he stares down Code. Code says, "Hold up, Ada." Daemon suddenly switched into a strange mood. What's he up to? Ada says, "I'm grateful to you, Code, for setting us free, and that's why I helped you regain your powers. But now that that's all over with, I'm through with you. We're done." Code is speechless and seems a bit surprised. So I think that's pretty fair by Ada, because, they both did one thing for each other that was pretty important. But now that that is taken care of, it seems like the alliance is going to be over. Amado's just listening, quiet, and Code says, "No way, Ada. I like you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. What about me? Don't you need my power?" Ada says, "Nope. I don't fancy the way you act and think so selfishly. Regardless of whether your feelings are the real deal or if they're just lies, I flat out had enough of you." Code stares into space. Daemon says, "Don't you worry about my big sister, alright? It doesn't matter if the enemy is an Otsutsuki or whatever. I'll freaking protect her." Code says, "I see. So you're saying that there's no reason for her to have two knights. Well then, one is enough for her. I'll be Ada's one and only knight." Daemon says, "Eh?" So now I feel like, just based off what's happening here, and I know that Ada's ability is impacting Code, but it seems like he's gonna hate Kawaki more if I had to guess. Bug is just listening. Ada says, "You. What are you trying to say? That just sounds... Ew. Damn, he got rejected bad." Code says, "Sorry, Daemon, but let's make it clear. Which one of us is the nuisance?" Daemon cracks an evil grin. Daemon says, "Hehe, you've gone crazy, haven't you? This'll be interesting. Try me." Bug says, "Code, it's the palm of his hand. Be wary of Daemon's palms." Seems like Bug has sided with Code over here. Bug says it only happens when the palm of his hand is touching another person. That's when he starts reflecting. This is important info because that is going to help Code, I guess, down the line, maybe if they have a rematch, and it'll definitely help anybody else that fights him as well. Code's listening. Ada says, "That guy Bug. He said something so unnecessary." Bug is thinking to himself, this is fine. It's a good course of events. Even though Daemon's ability is troublesome, he can deal with it as long as he knows some of the tricks behind it. Moreover, Code has regained his strength. The way he is right now, his power even surpasses that of Jigen's. At best, those two damn people will freaking beat the shit out of each other. So Bug is hoping to just, kill each other at this point. And that's going to end part 3 and part 4. We're going to now move on to part 5. Moving on to part 5, this is going to consist of pages 22 to 31 and take us to 76% of the chapter. So we're going to be 3/4 done by the time I'm done reading this part. Let's have a look. Scene 5, Code versus Daemon. Code then extends his white karma through his left eye. Interesting. Code says, "I get it now. So it's only when he's touching another person." Code quickly pounces to Daemon's left side with his right claw ready to strike. Code is surprised. However, Daemon has disappeared. He's then suddenly reappeared in the air right above Code. Daemon says, "You said I don't feel like I'll lose to anyone, or something. Didn't you say something like that? That's laughable." Daemon then punches Code right into the ground with his right fist. The floor is cracked all around Code's body. Code is laying face down in the rubble. Daemon says, "Hiya, ha!" Daemon then stomps both his feet right into the small of Code's back. Blood spurts out from Code's mouth. Code says, "Gah." Bug thinking to himself, what's going on? And now we're on page 26. I also do want to say, so I'm a little mixed about this, right? For one, I do like that a character like Daemon is, getting some screen time here, getting, some actual moments to shine. But at the same time, we got hyped up so much about Code's limiters being removed, only to be shown that Code is getting bodied the next chapter. So I feel like I like it and I don't like it to an extent. Daemon stares back down at the ground, but Code is no longer there. One strip of his claw mark is now there instead. Code then suddenly appears from right above Daemon. Code stretches out his right claw as if to grab Daemon. However, Daemon counters by spinning around in time to kick Code with his left leg. It connects straight into the right side of Code's face. Code is sent flying into the wall. Code's body is now cradled in the newly formed crater in the wall. More blood spurts from Code's mouth. Code says, "Guh." Code lands back on the floor with a heavy thud. Daemon lands a bit further away from him. Ada is still quite stoic. Code is laying on his left side. Daemon slowly approaches him. Bug says, "No way." Code says, "Goo." Daemon says, "How was that? It seems like you're definitely stronger than Jigen. The Hokage and that Uchiha would probably be no match for you either. But that's about it. Nothing more. It doesn't matter who's in second or third place. It's irrelevant to me when I'm first." I really like this line over here by Daemon, because not only does he, talk about the others' powers here, but he proclaims himself as number one. And I just like that I pretty much like how he said that. I guess that would be the right way. I can't wait to see the panel where he's saying that as well. But I agree with this too. It seems like Naruto and Sasuke would be completely outmatched right now with, their current state, with Naruto losing Kurama and Sasuke losing his Rinnegan. Makes plenty of sense. Maybe when Code had his limiters, maybe 2-on-1, they could have gave him some trouble, but right now, different story. Bug is thinking to himself. He says, "Damn it, that bastard Code, he's all bark and no bite. That's why I went against Daemon, but all that did was trigger him." Daemon glances at the floor as Code retreats into a set of claw marks. He immediately reappears next to Bug. Bug says, "Eh?" Ada says, "So you're running away?" "Not that it matters to me. I won't pursue you relentlessly. That's fine as long as you don't become a nuisance to me. And in addition, I thought you'd know about this, but I can see everything, and depending on the situation, I'll kill you." Ada has now activated her left eye. So it seems like Ada's gotten really serious as well. Code says, "I've got a duty to fulfill. It's something that I inherited from Ishiki. It's in accordance to the will of the Otsutsuki. I'm going to cultivate the Shinju and obtain the chakra fruit from this planet. Then it'll consume that fruit. Then I'll consume that fruit and become a new Otsutsuki. Once I become an Otsutsuki, I won't fall under the effects of your ability anymore. That moment should be the first time when I can finally realize what my own true feelings are. Do I want to love you or do I want to kill you?" I really like this line by Code too. A threat for the future. At this point though, Code really does seem like he's, all bark and no bite like Bug said. He really needs to take a W soon if he's going to be, a huge villain that they're going to use in this series going forward. So, hopefully this is the last L he takes for a while, because it seems like this dude's taking L's almost every fight he goes into recently. But yeah, let's move on to the next part. Moving on to the final parts, we have part 6 and part 7, which is going to be pages 32 to 38 and 39 to 41, taking us to 100% completion. And before I start this, I do want to say another shout out to Organic Dinosaur, because she said that some months she's not able to cover all the spoilers in detail like this because she works in the health field, and that is a pretty important field to be a part of. So shout out to her for, just being in a position to save lives, and also shout out to her for taking time to translate these whenever she can. But let's move on. Scene 6, Negotiations, pages 32 to 38. Daemon then darts straight for Code. He tries to land another kick, but to no avail. Bug says, "Wah." Code has gone into his claw mark already, and now Bug is being dragged into it too. Daemon says, "Che, what a nutjob psycho." Amado doesn't say anything. Ada says, "Amado, you're a careful and sly man. Not only did you manage to weather that situation with eloquence, but you also managed to artfully break us up with Code." Amado says, "That's from your perspective. You decided that it would be a good chance to cut off Code, and that's why you were being a bit more pushy in order to cover for me." Ada says, "Don't confuse us for being a team, alright? I was just curious about the rest of your story, and if I figure out that you were bluffing, then at that point, I'll just kill you." Amado doesn't say anything. Daemon grins as Amado glances his way. Amado says, Kawaki is my trump card. I'm not bluffing about that. It's the truth. Daemon then jumps straight onto Amado's shoulder for a ride. Daemon's palms are resting on Amado's shoulder and head. Exclamation mark. So Amado's just alarmed. Daemon, I see. Not bad. You're comfy to ride. Ada says, Daemon is just itching to kill you off. So if you don't want to die, why don't you hurry up and explain yourself? Okay, so it seems like Amado is, in a life or death situation here too. Doesn't seem like, that it was as calm as shown in some of the leaked panels. We're now on to page 35. Amado says, Kawaki has regained his karma and has simultaneously inherited Ishiki's abilities. His powers will continue to increase and get stronger and stronger from now onwards. But on the other hand, we now have Konoha and the Hokage Dono to deal with too. Currently the situation is that there's no one who can keep Kawaki's powers in check. No one aside from me. Okay, this is pretty important because in terms of power, I guess the only one that would come close is Boruto, right? Aside from maybe Daemon now and potentially Code. But nobody else in Konoha that can take care of it, for sure, aside from Amado apparently. Which is going to be interesting because I did cover in one of my other spoiler videos what exactly he can do. Ada says, so you inserted something into Kawaki aside from the karma? Amado says, I'm the only one who could do an emergency shutdown on Kawaki because it's an exclusive command word. Konoha is being held liable for Kawaki, but it's not that he's irrelevant to the other villages, but rather he's a topic that everyone could claim to be the most important issue for Konoha right now. And so in that regard, they have no choice but to rely on me. So pretty much Amado has a lot of leverage here, and he could definitely do a lot with Kawaki. Ada says, well said, but you've restored his karma. Your forte is stirring up drama and then taking credit for resolving it. Moreover, why didn't you add that halting feature in Kawaki from the very beginning? Amado says, because Jigen wouldn't allow me to do it. It would be an inconvenience to him if his precious vessel had that sort of function. That makes sense. Daemon says, if you ask me, I'd have the leeway to beat him to a pulp, just like Kawaki. Ada says, it's as Daemon says, if you have this kid, then you can deal with Kawaki's powers, as long as you aren't dead, that is. Then Konoha might decide to rely on us siblings. So pretty much, Ada and Daemon are trying to find a way to bargain their way in too, it seems like now. Or they're at least trying to gather info to do so. Amado says, your point has some merit to it. That's an interesting opinion. But Kawaki's stopping feature is nothing more than insurance for me. It's for the sake of protecting my position in the village. My real goal is something else. In order to achieve that goal, I need Kawaki's karma. Okay, so what could this real goal of his be? That's been a big, mystery for a while, but this chapter revealed a bunch of things. For example, who would have known that he had a shutdown thing for Kawaki as well? I like that they're finally, month by month or, every couple months they're giving more details to what Amado might be up to, or, they take the time to hint that Amado is up to something. He's definitely someone that we gotta watch out for as readers, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think he could be up to. Ada says, so you won't answer my question. Clarify it for me, or do you really want to die? Amado says, I'll explain why, but it's a long story. It seems like we'll need to discuss this with the people in Konoha too, so why don't we chat about the details when we arrive at the village? Ada says, Okay, so maybe, see, this made me think the first time I read it too, in one of my other spoiler videos, this portion was leaked, and it makes me think, okay, maybe his objective isn't too bad unless he, lies about it at this meeting and hides his true motives. But maybe this secret objective of his isn't as bad as we're thinking, but who knows, we may be wrong. Amado says, you ought to accept Ada. This is an invitation from Shikamaru. He put it this way, if you want to build a relationship with Kawaki, wouldn't it be best to lean into things, get closer, and live under Konoha's roof? Ada starts to blush profusely. Ada says, as I thought. That's how I feel about this. Daemon says, Konoha. Amado says, and don't worry, I'll be the mediator to arrange it. I'll have to explain about Daemon though, but first off, shouldn't we start heading over towards Konoha village? So it seems like, we're going to be setting up for what might happen in Chapter 72. Scene 7, the last scene, Rambling Code, pages 39 to 41. The scene shifts over to Code and Bug, who are wandering in a bleak, sandy landscape. Bug says, damn it, why did I even... Where the heck are we? Code says, despite what just happened, I was trying to help. You're better off now if you had gotten left behind anyway. Bug says, don't keep dragging me into each and every little thing. Shit, why is all of this even happening? Code says, it's Kawaki's fault, all of it. Everything happened because of him, because of that bastard. I couldn't even stomach him from the very start. Why was he the legitimate vessel? Why am I so useless? And same goes with Ada, and anything and everything he possesses. Bug doesn't say anything as Code rambles on. Code says, he's always everything that's ever been dear to me. I'll freaking kill him. I'll definitely do it with my own hands. I'll freaking wreck everything. The things and people that are dear to him, I'll destroy and ruin every single one of them. The Hokage, his friends, and Konoha village too. So, it seems as if Code's desire for revenge has increased even more. His hatred for Kawaki has grown really, really strong. My only thing with him is he needs to prove himself because he has taken too many L's in my eyes. So, we're gonna need, him to come back with a vengeance. And I do think he's gonna be set up as that type of villain. He is gonna make some type of impact. I think later down the line. I just don't know when they're gonna do that. But I really hope no more, at least, eventually he'll lose, but I hope the next battle or two he gets, he really shows out. Just so he's a good villain. End of the chapter 71. Preview for 72. Their alliance has broken down. Code has been cut off and discarded. Now that Code has been abandoned, his innermost thoughts are being mixed with feelings of envy and hatred. A footnote at the end of the chapter mentions that the Boruto manga will be absent from next month's V-Jump release on sale in July, and so chapter 72 will be published on a delay in the following month's magazine in August. So, hiatus confirmed for a month. Sadly, it's not going to be for any announcement, it seems like. We're not going to be switching to bi-weekly or anything like that, in case you were wondering. We could still get some type of announcement next month, though, relating to the next arc that's coming up. Or who knows, maybe this is set up for the time skip. We really aren't sure. It could even just be a regular break. But until more is revealed on that, we're just going to have to wait till August and see what they reveal in July. But that's going to be it for this one. Let me know what you think of these spoilers in the comments below. Are you excited to read this chapter? What are your overall thoughts? But that's going to be it for this one. Be sure to leave a like if you guys enjoyed. And definitely subscribe to my channel if you guys are new. I try my best to cover this stuff, especially for Boruto and Dragon Ball, as quick as I can. But that's going to be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good day or night whenever you guys are watching this video. I'm Rewinds, and I'm out.